The rain fell hard that morning, the kind that blurs your reflection on the window until you can't tell if it's the sky crying or you. Monica sat in her parked car outside the cafe, clutching her phone like a lifeline. Her thumb hovered over a name she hadn't called in 2 years, Daniel. Her ex-husband. The man who once promised forever, then left when she needed him the most. Her hands trembled as thunder cracked across the clouds. "If you don't come, it'll be too late." She whispered the words she had written on the small receipt before sliding it to the waiter. Her message wasn't just for him. It was for herself, for the parts of her soul that had stopped showing up for life. She was tired of pretending she was fine, tired of smiling while her world quietly fell apart. That one note, one fragile, desperate message, would change everything. Monica worked at Brew and Bloom Cafe, a small corner coffee shop that smelled like roasted beans and worn-out dreams. Every morning, she served regulars who barely looked up from their phones, people lost in their own worlds, the same way she had been lost for months. She'd learned to hide her pain well. A polite smile, a perfect latte, a quiet "have a nice day." But beneath that calm surface was a storm she couldn't silence. Since Daniel left, the world had turned gray. 2 years ago, she had been a proud nurse, saving lives and planning for a baby that never came. Then came the miscarriage, and his silence. One night he said he needed space, and she never saw him again. The grief buried her. Her job at the hospital became unbearable, so she quit. The cafe was quiet enough for her to disappear without anyone noticing. But today felt different. Maybe it was the rain, maybe it was the exhaustion of carrying the weight alone, but something in her broke. A young woman entered the cafe, soaked to the bone, holding a crying toddler. Monica offered her a towel and a free cup of hot chocolate. The child's tiny hand reached for Monica's, and something deep inside her stirred, an ache she hadn't allowed herself to feel in a long time. When the woman thanked her and left, Monica stared at the receipt she'd printed. Her pen trembled as she wrote, "If you don't come, it'll be too late." She didn't know who the message was for. Maybe for Daniel. Maybe for her own soul. When she looked out the window, she saw her reflection, a woman who had stopped living long before her heart had stopped beating. For the first time in months, she let herself cry, not the quiet, hidden tears of the past, but raw, shaking sobs that drew the eyes of strangers. She turned away, ashamed, yet lighter somehow. That night, she went home and placed the same note on her mirror. She whispered, "If I don't come back to myself, it'll be too late." The next morning, Monica arrived early. The rain had cleared, leaving a pale gold dawn stretching across the streets. The cafe was quiet, just the hum of the espresso machine and the smell of fresh bread. That's when he walked in, an older man, gray beard, kind eyes, carrying a guitar case. He ordered a black coffee and sat near the window. For days, he returned, always at the same time. One morning, he noticed the note taped behind the counter. "If you don't come, it'll be too late," he read aloud. That's a heavy message for a coffee shop. Monica smiled softly. Sometimes people need a reminder. He nodded. Reminders only work when you believe you still have time. His name was Elijah, a retired music teacher who'd lost his wife 3 years earlier. He told her how grief had turned silence into his only companion. "But I realized," he said, "silence is only peaceful when you've made peace with yourself." That line stayed with her. That evening, she found the courage to visit her old hospital. She walked through the familiar halls, the smell of antiseptic, the faint sound of monitors. It was painful but strangely grounding. She met a nurse she once mentored, who hugged her tightly. "You were the light of this place, Monica. We still talk about how you made everyone feel seen." That night, Monica stood at her window, the city glowing beneath her. She picked up her phone again. Daniel's number still blinked on the screen. But this time, she didn't call. Instead, she whispered to herself, "I'm coming back." To me. Weeks passed, and the cafe began to change. Or maybe it was Monica who did. Her laughter returned. She started sketching again, something she hadn't done since college. The customers noticed. People came not just for coffee, but for her warmth. One afternoon, Elijah brought his guitar and asked, "Can I play something here?" The soft melody filled the cafe, tender and soulful, like a prayer wrapped in music. Monica closed her eyes, feeling tears of gratitude this time. When the song ended, she whispered, "That was beautiful." Elijah smiled. Pain creates the most beautiful songs, but only if you let it teach you. Later that evening, as she was closing, she found a familiar envelope under a cup. It was from Daniel. The handwriting was unmistakable. Her heart raced as she opened it. Monica, I came to the cafe, but you were gone. I saw the note on the wall, and I knew it was meant for me. I've carried guilt every day since I left. You deserved better than my silence. I hope you found peace, even if it wasn't with me. D. For a long moment, she just stared at the words. The woman who once begged for closure finally realized she didn't need it from him. She smiled, folded the letter, and placed it under her mirror beside the old receipt note. Her reflection smiled back, not broken anymore, but whole. That night, she whispered, "If you don't come, it'll be too late, but I came back just in time." Moral of the story. Healing doesn't begin when someone returns, it begins when you do. Sometimes, the most powerful note you can write isn't a plea for someone else to come back. It's a reminder for your own heart to finally come home. Broken Heart Sparkles.